So the Nintendo Switch Successor leaks and rumors continue to pour out, this time from a well-respected leaker, and according to him, an LCD screen might not be the only big change for its display. Things could get exponentially larger compared to the Switch and really even its competitors. So we will talk about that today and what this means for the Switch 2. Also, Xbox gave us some more information for their upcoming Gamescom event where they're supposedly going all out. Expectations have now been set, though the big question is, will it be worth it? Well, we will find out today. Then there's also a couple Game Pass leaks that we're going to talk about that I think certain fans are going to be pretty happy about. As always, though, do hit that like button below. It helps the channel a ton. And if you're enjoying the video, make sure to subscribe. I am here every single week, Monday through Friday. And today, we're going to go get things started off with Nintendo and their fiscal year report. They dropped a lot of crazy, ridiculous numbers today, and I really do mean that. The Switch is going to be a tough act to follow for them. I trust that they will continue this momentum forward, but the Switch, as of June 30th, has now officially sold 129.53 million units worldwide. Now, to just kind of put this into perspective into how impressive this is, this means that soon the Switch will be only the third console ever made to top 130 million units sold. The only other two consoles that's achieved this incredible milestone is the PlayStation 2, which sold 155 million units, and a big part of that was actually because it was an affordable DVD player at the time. It was not just because of it being a game console. And then you have the DS, and that sold 154 million units. Now, we'll see if the Switch can ultimately track down those consoles and eclipse that 150 million mark as well, but from all reports right now, the Switch will still have the market to itself until the Switch Successor eventually comes in late 2024. So there is a chance here that the Switch could still eclipse that 150 million units sold, and honestly, I suspect that the Switch will continue to sell even post-Switch Successor. What's even crazier here, though, are the software sales. Their top 10 bestsellers are honestly, they're insane. There's not a lot of consoles in history that's managed to put up these type of first-party numbers. I will go and include a picture on screen here, but if you noticed, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has already managed to make its way into their top bestsellers. In a mere 1 month and a half, Tears of the Kingdom has already sold 18.51 million units. I mean, isn't that just absurd? This is all happening on one singular console. This is not a multi-platform release, and it sold 18.51 million units in a month and a half. That's just crazy. I mean, even though I prefer the classic Zelda games myself, it really is just a beauty to see this franchise grow throughout this generation. Zelda has always been one of the best franchises ever made, and honestly, I'm really glad to see it get treated as such. Now, we also got a couple leaks to talk about here that includes Xbox Game Pass, because according to Bilbilkun, an enhanced version of Quake 2 is about ready to be announced at the upcoming QuakeCon, which will start on August 10th. Now, Bilbilkun has more than earned his reputation as a legitimate leaker, so this is credible information, and it also, it does make sense. The first Quake, that was revived back in 2021, and from the information that we're hearing right now, Quake 2 will follow a very similar pattern to that release. It'll once again be announced at QuakeCon and released as a multi-platform title. Now, that is actually quite significant too, because Quake is technically owned by Microsoft now, but as Xbox has reiterated time and time again, Bethesda games will be multi-platform or exclusive on a case-by-case basis, and that includes Quake 2, which looks to be a multi-platform situation. It sounds like it is coming to Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and even the Nintendo Switch. So really an ideal situation for this legendary franchise. When everybody plays, we all win. However, with it being a first-party Xbox game, of course, you Xbox fans out there should expect to get one major perk, because it's pretty much all but confirmed that it will be heading to Game Pass day one as well. You gotta love it. Speaking of Game Pass, though, in a little bit of a weird situation, several Xbox players have reported that they've received a notification on their Xbox app letting them know that Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 are now available in Xbox Game Pass. Now, that's not actually true, or at least as of this moment, but it does kind of make you wonder if maybe Microsoft accidentally pushed this notification out sooner than what they should have. Maybe an announcement is coming here sometime soon. And I mean, these are some of the most beloved RPGs ever made. These would be fantastic inclusions to Game Pass, especially now that Baldur's Gate 3 is officially out on PC. Now, Xbox will have to wait a while to play that game, as Larian Studios are having to do some extra work to get it running properly on the Xbox Series S. They've had some issues getting the co-op to work properly on the Xbox Series S specifically, and with Microsoft requiring both to release at the same time, the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S version, this has caused an Xbox delay for Baldur's Gate 3, which, I mean, it's too bad because the third game is sounding pretty amazing right now. I'm hearing nothing but good things as of this moment. But in the meantime, if this is actually true, that the first two games are coming to Game Pass, it'll be the perfect time to jump in for Xbox fans and have them catch up on what makes these games so beloved in the first place until they do get that eventual Baldur's Gate 3 release. I guess we'll see, though, hopefully, sooner rather than later. That's not quite everything for you Xbox fans, though, because it sounds like they will have a big presence at the upcoming Gamescom, which starts on August 23rd and runs through the 27th. Now, we previously talked about this because it was reported by Tom Henderson a couple days back that they're quote-unquote going all out this year with their biggest booth ever, and, well, now we do have some confirmation for that. Xbox themselves dropped a lot of information to kind of set expectations, and we're going to go and kind of run over some of the highlights here. So yes, if you go to Gamescom in person, they will have 30 plus games playable for fans at their Xbox booth, and this includes a lot of highly anticipated games. Stalker 2, that is one of the most anticipated third-party exclusives, and it will be there. Payday 3, that is another Xbox Game Pass title. I know fans are very excited for this one. It's going to be there as well. This also includes Just Sant, Armored Core 6, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Quantic Dreams. They're going to be there as well with their new IP Under the Waves. This is an interesting game to have at the Xbox booth. They're more known on the PlayStation side of things, but it's good to see them break out here with a multi-platform release. And then you have Persona 5 Tactics as well. It will be there. So a lot of highly anticipated games will be there among various others. And even if you don't go to Gamescom yourself, it's always nice to see these games in players' hands before release, because that means impressions will start to make their way online. That's always one of the best things to come from these type of events. But they also have an exclusive theater presentation plan for Starfield, Forza, and Era History Untold. These games won't be playable, but we will get some type of update on all three of these games, which is actually kind of funny just because I saw somebody just earlier today mention that Xbox is being silent about Starfield, but it is going to be at Gamescom. And it also just had its own 45-minute direct. How many games have a 45-minute presentation just for itself alone? It's not too many out there. But anyways, continuing on, Towerborn, another Xbox exclusive, will be at Gamescom as well. They mentioned it will be hands-on for the first time ever, so we probably will see some extended gameplay. So Xbox, they're going to be all over Gamescom. This is going to be a big, big event for them. And I think one thing to kind of keep an eye on will be the Gamescom Opening Night Live Showcase hosted by Jeff Keighley. All of the games that we just previously mentioned, there is a chance that they will show up in this showcase. Stalker 2, again, I know a lot of people are really excited for this game, and we might see a gameplay update pop up in that showcase. That is incredibly exciting alone. Now, there's also a possibility that there could be some other surprises in store. Last year, as an example, Xbox did reveal some pretty big Game Pass titles at Gamescom, including Lies of P. So who knows exactly what they have planned. All we know right now is that, yeah, they're going to have a big presence at Gamescom. The fun doesn't quite stop with the Opening Night Live event, however. Of course, they'll have the Xbox booth, as we just talked about a moment ago, but they're also planning to have their own series of streams where they'll give us more game updates, they'll take deep dives into different titles, and the developers will have a chance to discuss their games. So yeah, I mean, just to kind of answer the question in short here, Xbox fans, they're absolutely going to want to tune in for Gamescom this year. Moving on, though, let's just go and switch gears up here and talk about the Nintendo Switch Successor again. The wave of leaks and rumors continue on, and this is because Nate the Hate chimed in with his own, as he called it, informed speculation. Now, Nate the Hate has proven to be a reliable Nintendo leaker in the past, and he has a pretty good track record, so, when he says things like this, that he's been hearing whispers behind the scenes, people, they perk their ears up. Now, at the same time, it is important to keep in mind that he's not necessarily confirming anything, and he was very adamant about that, but he has, in fact, heard that the Nintendo Switch 2 will launch with an 8-inch LCD screen. So that's a big screen for a handheld like this. That means that it would come in with the largest hybrid form factor on the market out of all of these mainstream devices, or at least as of right now. The standard Switch has a 6.2-inch display. The OLED model removed the bezels and it got it up to 7 inches. Then you have the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally. Both of those are at 7 inches as well. So 8 inches, that's a big display for a device like this. And that does have some people wondering, is that maybe too large? But honestly, I don't think so. And let me just kind of explain my reasoning here. The most important thing is not the size in itself. This isn't the days where we carry our handheld around in our pockets. This is not a Game Boy, a Nintendo DS, or a 3DS. People today, they carry these things around in a carrying case, so they don't have to worry about adding a little extra size for that specific reason. But the most important thing here, again, is not the size per se. It's the ergonomics. How comfortable will it be to hold in your hands? And even though the Switch 2 might be, quite a bit larger, well, all you have to do is look at the Steam Deck. Now, if you own a Steam Deck, it's a beefy console. It does have the same screen size as the Switch OLED, but the reason it's so big is because its handles are much wider than the Nintendo Switch's Joy-Cons. The Steam Deck has trackpads and everything, so they have to kind of work around that. But I think that there's a debate to be had here, that the Steam Deck, despite its larger size, is actually more comfortable than the Nintendo Switch. It just feels really good in your hands, whereas the Switch, I'd honestly say, is cramped. I actually have to use a grip handle for my Switch just to kind of make it comfortable. I actually reviewed this handle a year or so back. I can drop a link for that in the description below, but that's how I had to make my Switch comfortable. It's not without it, in my opinion. So really, I don't think size is necessarily an issue here. It's really going to just come down to the ergonomics. But nonetheless, I do, however, find the size of this screen to be exciting. This will add a little bit more clarity to your games because things will be ballooned up just a little bit more. Font, as an example, will increase in size just a tad more, giving it a little easier readability. More so, assuming that the Switch 2 primarily runs games at 1080p resolution, which I imagine that it will, then it could be a beautiful display to look at. And that's something that I want to kind of continue to repeat here. I feel like there's some people out there that's kind of overstating the importance of an OLED screen compared to an LCD. While yes, an OLED is better, and I prefer it myself. I would prefer them released with an OLED model, but at the same time, an LCD screen can still look good. The ROG Ally is a perfect example of this. Its screen looks excellent, especially when you have it running at 1080p with good frame rate. Games look so much better on the ROG Ally than they do on the Switch OLED. 1080p, clarity, improved textures because, you have a more powerful console. All this stuff makes a massive, massive difference. So I really don't think an OLED is the be-all, end-all. Sure, it would be a bonus, but it's not necessarily the defining factor. Nonetheless, though, the Switch 2 might come in as the largest hybrid form factor at 8 inches. And I want to hear from you all. Do you think that's too big? Or are you excited if they truly increase its size? Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, and since we're talking about the Switch 2, I asked you all, when do you think Nintendo will announce the Switch Successor? Rumor has it that Gamescom could maybe be the place, but you all disagree. Only 10% of you all believe that'll happen, then 16% voted for 2023, and then the vast majority, being 68%, voted 2024. Now, I believe it's going to be 2024 as well. I find it hard to believe that Nintendo would make the Switch 2 public while the current Switch has so much momentum going for it. I mean, we just talked about this earlier. The Switch is putting up insane numbers, and it continues to put up great numbers, and I see no reason why Nintendo should cut its momentum short by announcing its successor. I think they're eyeing the possibility of having the most successful console ever made, so let's just kind of keep that going. Now, technically, Nintendo has announced consoles well in advance in the past, so it's not necessarily impossible either. Even Sony, they revealed the PlayStation 5 a full year in advance, but I just feel like under these specific circumstances, again, the Switch is performing very well. Nintendo, they're going to want to wait until 2024. They have no reason to rush this. They're going to do it on their own time. I, however, would not expect a public announcement to be made at Gamescom. At most, maybe Nintendo behind closed doors lets developers know what's kind of going on. And with that, more leaks will then continue to churn. But hey, that's why I'm here. We'll go through all this together every step of the way. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you like the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.